Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my deck collection. Today we're going to talk about some seasonal decks. Let's get into it. You know, the best laid plans, but I've grabbed the decks this way and then I got to figure out how to not drop them. I guess I'll just put them next to me on the bed. These aren't all seasonal, and actually I've also got a second pile that I'll probably do in this video too. This pile. These are all decks that haven't been getting love. We're going to talk about it. All right, let's get into it. So let's start off with the obvious. Let me get out all of my Seasons of the Witch decks. This is the one I'm working with right now. This is the Seasons of the Witch Beltane. We have Seasons of the Witch Maven. These are safe, but I do want to show them because I think I'm going to change how I'm storing these. Seasons of the Witch Yule. I know I have more in here. Seasons of the Witch Imbolc. Seasons of the Witch Samhain. This is where it all began. Is that it? I feel like I'm missing. I've got one that just came in, but I haven't bagged it yet, and that is the Seasons of the Witch Litha. Is that it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why am I so convinced I'm missing one? Hold on, let me just think about these in order. So, Seasons of the Witch Samhain, Yule. Where's Imbolc? Oh, I just grabbed it. Samhain, Yule, Imbolc, Beltane, Ostara. Is Ostara one we're missing? Do we not have Ostara yet? And then we have Maven. So I'm going to pick these bags up for now because I'm pretty sure I'm going to put these on a shelf. So let's look at it this way. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I also have just gotten Litha. I just got Litha, but I haven't shown it on the channel yet. Oh, let's bring them into the frame. So we're missing Lunasa and Ostara. Right? Right. So we're missing 2. The punchline of this is I want these on a shelf because I work with them seasonally and I like the idea of storing them this away. Right? Yeah, like this, basically. This is how I want to store them on my shelf, but we're still missing 2. So I'm taking them out of their bags because they don't need to be hanging on a rack. So this one's still got to go in my recent deck roundup pile. I just got it. So if you've seen these, you know the drill. I want the whole set. Look at how Imbolc is bigger. Why is that? Is it that the book is bigger? Let's see. The book for Imbolc is 137-ish. These books feel the same thickness. These feel the same thickness. Interesting. So I wonder what's different. Is there more cards in Imbolc? Is the box just bigger? It's an optical illusion, yo. I'm pretty sure it's an optical illusion. By the way, I think if I had to pick a favorite of these, it might have to be Imbolc. There's something about this one that I really, really love. So anyways, these are safe. All 5 of these are safe. They're seasonal, but I need them out and visible because I just use them pretty regularly. So I always have one out. So like right now I'm working with Beltane because we haven't quite hit the summer solstice at the time I'm recording this. So that stays out. These ones are going to get put away, and I think I'm going to put them on the shelf in front of me. We shall see what I have room for, but I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's talk about some other seasonal stuff. Let's talk about Halloween since I have the most in that category and could probably trim it down some. It's going to be tricky. Let's just see. So my Zombie Tarot is safe. I've actually got this bagged up with the Zombie Oracle that Orshi did. And I do like using these together. They just thematically work really well. So I like just using this. There was a second deck that Orshi did that had this theme. I think it was a little bit more like positive. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I know I found out about it at some point, but I really just like this original one. I'm pretty bonded to it, so I like using it together. The Zombie Oracle is hands down my favorite deck to use in October, or has historically been my favorite deck to use in October. I just absolutely love it. It's funny, it's smart, it reads really well. I've got a fabulous bag for it. This is safe, for sure. And I don't ever use these decks, like the Zombie Oracle, separately or anything, so they just live in the same bag, and that makes me really happy. So that's safe. Oh, I've got some tough decisions coming up. The Trick or Treat Tarot is literally the perfect deck for actually like Halloween week. So when I'm thinking of costumes and trick-or-treating and all the kind of fun, campy parts of Halloween, this is it for me. All the little costumes and the pop culture references are freaking fabulous through this deck. I adore it. I think it's really smart and super fun. I think Barbara Moore did an incredible job with this, and it's fabulous in so many ways. And like I said, the pop culture references alone, even outside of Halloween, make this just really, really fun to work with. It's incredible. I love it. So really, really fun. Also, I don't think in my life had a more perfect bag match than this. Perfection. So I love using this right around Halloween itself, like whether it's even just on the day. And yeah, this one's safe. This is fun. Halloween is definitely a fun month for decks for me, so I do struggle with keeping it narrowed down. This one is also safe. This is the Tarot Vampires by Ian Daniels. We did a deck study on this. I think this was one of our first. And it was so much fun to do. This deck has a lot of depth in it. And when it comes to sort of funky, campy vampire decks, this one is just wonderful. It's just wonderful. I absolutely love it. It just feels like kind of 90s goth, and like it's a whole mood. But I will say I like it because of its richness and its depth. I think that outside of the fact that we had studied this and just gone all in on learning all about it, I don't know if it's one I would have otherwise gravitated to. I could see myself at some point letting it go, simply because I don't want to reach for it year round, and I feel like it's worth being reached for year round. But it's not my usual aesthetic, so it comes out in the darker part of the year, and that's all right. That works, but yeah, it's pretty great. So that is the Tarot Vampires by Ian Daniels. That one's safe for now. I think I've only got one other. Oh, I've got two others to talk about, and these ones are going to be tricky. Oh boy, I don't know where to begin. Let's talk about the Boo Tarot. This deck is adorable. The cardstock is awful, but the deck itself is adorable. If this came out on another cardstock, I definitely would be tempted to repurchase it. It's wavy. Look at mine is waved from shuffling. It's just terrible, but the deck itself is really cute. And unfortunately, because it's so beat up from just regular use, like that's what the deck does. It literally waves. It's got no structure in it whatsoever to like kind of hold it. It's awful. And it's a shame because this is the most adorable adorable deck. I absolutely love it. The cardstock literally makes me so nuts, but at the same time, it hasn't made me nuts enough to want to let go of this. And this is by Celia Melville, but it's got the English written right on it as well as the French. I think I prefer that to the abbreviated thing that she did with the Tarot Renard, which I talked about in a prior deck collection video. Honestly, like, even though the cards are like legitimately super wavy and like wobbly, it's so dang cute. And I can't bring myself to let it go. It's absolutely too cute. Like the ghosts and the majors have this like little sparkly holographic effect, which is really cute. They're really cute. They're really cute. They're really cute. Cardstock is terrible, and every time I pull it out, I'm like just even more horrified by it. It's just so bad. But its cuteness means that it stays. I don't have any excuse for myself. Like the tactile experience of this deck is so terrible. It's so terrible. But I really anticipated this deck for a long time. I think it's super cute, and I think it's my favorite that Celia Melville has ever done. So it stays. And that means that I actually have a good number for Halloween because I have 4 weeks worth, right? I have my zombies. This is kind of a neat range actually, because I have super cute, really deep and like thoughtful, thought-provoking, intense, fun but meaningful readings, and then camp. So I've got my 4 Halloween weeks. Ooh, which actually means I have trouble. I have a problem because I have another Halloween deck and let me explain my dilemma. Oh, I cannot make up my mind with this deck. So this is the Bohemian Gothic. I have in my possession a prior edition of this deck. that is in a box I like, and it doesn't have any cold foil stamping. But I had previously decided to let that copy go. And then this copy came out and they were going to cold foil stamp it. And I picked it up. And y'all, for the life of me, I have such a struggle. So this is what the backings of this newest edition look like. Here's my struggle. Let me see if I can explain it. So the cold foil stamping is just a lot. I cannot pick out any details on the cards very well because as soon as I tip the card at all to get a different angle looking at it, the cold foil stamping takes over and I can't see the image, which is annoying. It's not so bad. This is one of the worst ones, and maybe it's because it's the first card I look at that just does me in. However, in this newest edition, all of the card art changes that have been made, I prefer over the previous edition. So like this High Priestess has been changed and I love her. She really feels High Priestessy to me. It's the whole vibe. So wherever the cards have been changed, I prefer this newer version of it, of the artwork. I like this. If I don't try too hard to like make the cold foil flash, it's actually in person showing up pretty well. It's beautiful, and there's something about this art that just makes me want to reach for it so much. And this newer version is just so much more readable. You know what? Let me do this. I'm going to shuffle this. I've got an idea in my brain. So let's just see. I think I need to get over my issue with the cold foil stamping because I like this version. And I think I know what I want to do. The other version, I struggled with some of the cards, but the cards I struggled with have been changed in this version. So this version wins out because of the art changes. So let me just see what it feels like. Just pull a few cards and see what they feel like to read with. All right. Energy, yes. She feels Queen of Swordsy. Obstacle is death, yes. And the advice is the Two of Swords. That's pretty amazing. Let's do that again. So we have energy, King of Wands. Obstacle is the Six of Pentacles. And the advice is judgment. Yeah, y'all, actually, here's the thing. I'm going to put these in their little box for a minute. I'm going to pull back out the Ian Daniels decks. Some of you guys are going to flip out. But here's the thing. If I shuffle this, let me just see. I just lay the cards out. Energy, Queen of Wands. Obstacle, the Magician. Advice, Strength. No, because I studied this, this one does connect. Energy. This one's got so much passion in it. I do really love that about it. It's got this like dangerous edge. And I dig it. Obstacle and advice. Obstacle, advice. All right, so I thought maybe I would pull Bohemian Gothic in and let this one go, because part of me wants to have no more than 4 Halloween or October themed decks, I guess you could say. But I'm going to keep all 5. I'm going to really give this a try, I think, this year and see how it goes, because I did, for a time, really enjoy my work with the other edition of Bohemian Gothic. Like I said, there was just some cards that I didn't love. I hate this wooden box. It's really a lovely touch. It really, really is. But it's just not as convenient. This is probably the easiest box to open. Is like a clamshell style or a magnetic, because it's all in one piece. That's what I like. The clamshell has a very, very thin, weak spot that always concerns me. I haven't had one fall apart on me yet, but I do worry about repeated opening and closing with that style. But this wooden box is just, I don't know. It's awkward to get the cards in and out. Whatever. We're going to keep these. I've got a few more decks than I have in the seasonal section, but I have the Winter Weight Santa's Helper edition. This bag doesn't technically match, but it's a very Christmas wrapping paper, and so is this, so it works for me. But this is by the same people as the Spring Weight, but there's no fancy finish on these cards. It's just a classic Rider-Waite-Smith, but in a totally campy Christmas vibe that I absolutely love. I actually really enjoy reading with this card because it just pulls me into, like, I don't know, the North Pole. And I freaking love that, because even though it's a Rider-Waite-Smith, it really takes me to a different place. And most Rider-Waite-Smith clones, like really true clones like this, where they really feel like a new version of the Rider-Waite-Smith actual artwork, most of those don't take me anywhere. And the funny thing is, earlier in this series, I let go of the spring weight, which is by the same company, Tarot Collectibles. But the spring weight had all these sparkles, and it was just kind of hard to see, whereas this is very easy to look at. There's no finish getting in the way. It's just really easy. And I actually really, really love pulling this out in December. It's my only Christmassy, I guess you could say, like kind of winter holiday deck. And I love the mood. I love the vibe. I love the Jack Frost card. There's another death card in here, but I have Jack Frost in mine because it's just seasonally appropriate. But I love this. I'm just putting them all upright. Whenever I read with like a Rider-Waite-Smith style deck, I do often pull in reversals, but I don't with most of my other decks. So it just bugs me when I pull it out and I'm like, oh yeah, there's reversals in here. There's a lot of reversals in here. There we go. So this one's safe. Like I said, it's my only holiday, like Christmas holiday type deck, seasonally that way. So that one's safe. I haven't really decluttered anything, have I? No, I guess I haven't. And that brings me to the, what is this called? The Irby deck. I forget the name of this. Why do I forget the name of this? This was a deck study. I had actually let this deck go a long time ago and then got it again because it was voted as a study deck for the Unicorn fam. So we actually studied this deck and it was a really, really great experience. There's a lot of depth and richness. I love the artwork, but truthfully, the study was wonderful. I got so much out of the study experience and enjoyed working with it during the study, but I've had zero desire to reach for it since. So it's a really, really beautiful deck. I love the theming. I love how beautifully the guidebook is written. I feel like I learned a lot. This deck inspired me to get into nettle, and so it started my whole nettle journey. I still keep nettle salve or nettle balm on hand in-house and love it. I have almost used it all up, actually, but that was inspired by the work with this deck. However, I have not felt drawn to work with this deck, like I said, since. So I think this one can actually go. So this one's going to go in the to-go pile. So I think that's actually it of my seasonal decks. So I'm going to just stack these up and I'm going to keep going because we're only about 20 minutes into this video. And I have some other decks that are on a rack. These are the decks that I either haven't worked with yet or am probably, like, I'm not sure. These are decks that have just been hanging in a spot, waiting for some attention and not getting it. So let's dig into those. So first of all, oh, I haven't worked with this yet. This is the Ego Observer Tarot. I think the reason that this is on like my sort of abandoned decks rack, I don't know what to call the rack, but the rack is where I hang stuff to be worked with. But for whatever reason, I've noticed that that's kind of where decks go to be neglected. And I don't know what the situation is because the longer it hangs there, the less I am to use it. Now, this is fairly new to my collection. I haven't given this a chance yet, and I do want to. I like the keywords. I may need to use this deck more like an Oracle deck. This was a Kickstarter I was really, really, really excited about. And the campaign itself just kind of didn't go, I don't know, very smoothly. And it left me with a funky feeling about it. But I think it was just mistakes. It wasn't like anybody was being crappy, in my opinion. I don't think anybody was being crappy. But then there's also just some production things about this deck that I don't appreciate, like how the dark contrast letters on the black background just don't pop and it's hard to look at. But if I'm looking at just the white text for the main keyword, I really do like this deck. I think what I'm going to do is shuffle this and do a quick reading. I don't know how much I'm going to use the guidebook for this deck, though, because it's also like dark text, light background, or I mean dark background, light text is what I meant to say. And I'm not fond of not being able to read some of the headings and things like are literally impossible for me to read. Like I cannot read any of these headings at all in this lighting. They don't even show up. Now I can see the red. It just bothers me. So let me shuffle this and just see about a quick little reading. Because I feel like when I first saw this deck, I was so convinced it would be just a powerful reader. And I think that's still very, very possible. I just think it hung there because I just couldn't. I just couldn't. I just had associations with the experience as a backer and just, I don't know. Sometimes it's just the way it is, right? Something just doesn't feel, it doesn't go the way you expect and it just affects how you view the deck. But maybe I'll take that bit out. So I'm just babbling. Let's start that again. So I'm just let's just shuffle this. Let's see if I can just do an effective reading while not worrying so much about the production stuff that bugs me or any of my other little minor like gripes with this deck, because I think that the heart and soul of the deck is strong. I think the theming is good. It's got a real psychological bent that reminds me a lot of my experiences with the Osho Zen Tarot in the beginning. So let's just see how it feels. I feel like this could be a really good deck for quick, potent readings, but let's see if my initial vibes on it are correct. And just throw some cards down and see. So let me just do a quick little energy obstacle advice. Energy obstacle advice. All right. Energy. Unity, the Two of Cups. Obstacle is take a risk. And the advice is addiction. Take a risk for the Knight of Coins is interesting because the Knight of Coins is like the least risk-taking person I know. This totally feels like a Fool card. It's kind of funny. Now I wish I couldn't see the tarot titles because if I was just looking at it this way, Unity. So the reading would be about, let me think. If I wasn't thinking about the tarot, then Unity would be about connection, relationship, connection. Taking a risk would be the obstacle. So not enough risk taking perhaps in my relationship, in a relationship. And then we have advice would be addiction, the devil. Where am I stuck in a rut? Where am I stuck in old routines? How are those getting in the way? Let me try another three. So we've got alchemy, maturity, and collective. Be clear, turn on. I think part of my problem is I want this to be the Osho Zen, and it's really not. And maybe that was unfair. Maybe I can't see past my little personal stuff with this deck to like read it clearly, because I feel like I'm not being objective. I feel like I'm looking at it and I'm like, nah, it doesn't make sense. But when I feel like when I first saw the deck, everything made sense. So this could be a mood thing. I think what I'm going to do with this deck actually is I'm going to store it. I just think this needs to sit for a bit. I'm not going to purgatory it. I've got a shelf where I put decks that I just want to store. So you may see this again because I'm going to be doing a collection video going over all of those decks and talking about why they're in storage right now. So there may be a bit of repeating done throughout this series, but I don't want to overthink how I'm doing it. But anyway, I think this is going to go into storage. So this is a storage pile deck. So I'm going to put that there. All right. So we have a storage and we have a purgatory pile. What's next in here? So here we have the Spirit Within deck. This poor deck. This deck doesn't deserve this treatment from me. And here's the issue with this. I am such a fan of Stephen Bright as a human being, and his tarot knowledge and his perspective on the tarot is something I really, really genuinely appreciate. And this deck just feels like Stephen to me, which is why I picked it up. I knew a long time ago that this wasn't quite for me, but I picked it up because I couldn't stop thinking about it. And it's so clever. I love the silhouettes. I love this art style. It's really fun. I clearly have read with this with reversals, or I lent it to Peggy. I'm not sure. I really do like this. But I never reach for it. At the same time, I don't think this is one I want to let go of. In fact, I think I just need to move this off of the shelf, off of the rack that it was hanging on, and put it into my regular mix, but I don't think this is the right bag for this. I think I need to put this in a different bag. So let me think about that for a minute. It's purple and black, which I think is why it got put in that bag, but I've got a different purple and black bag, so I think I'm going to move it. Let me just flip these, and I think that will actually help. So let me, because I legitimately think I just forgot what was in here, and that doesn't usually happen with me with my bags because I typically pick the bag to match the deck. But in this case, this was like a rebagging situation. All right. I'm gonna put this back. I don't think I want to let this go, but I do think I need to put it in something so that I remember where it's at, because I think I keep forgetting. So it needs to come out of the witch bag because that just does not make sense for that at all. I think that's a much better match for that deck. So we're going to pop it in there. I may need to just keep this out of a bag for a bit so I remember I feel like I'm forcing it. Here's the issue I'm having. Let me just see if I can talk through my feelings. I feel like I'm forcing it because there's only been a few times I feel like this is the deck I would have reached for. And the funny thing is, I feel like when I would have reached for this deck, I reached for the Fountain Tarot instead. There's something about the Fountain that seems to scratch this itch for me. I think I'm going to let this go. I don't think it's one that I'm bonding with. And I think I'm trying to make it happen because I'm such a fan of Steven, but I'm not reaching for it. So I think I need to purgatory that. So that's going to purgatory. This one should just be in storage. I don't know why I have it hanging at all, because this is actually more of a nostalgia thing for me than a deck that I'm using. This is the Avalonian Oracle. I can't remember what it's actually called, but this is based on the mythologies and the practices from the Sisterhood of Avalon, which was a spiritual organization I was a part of for years and got so much out of, really impacted my life. Really, truly impacted my life. And so I got this, but I don't work with this. This is not something I want to let go of, but I think it needs to be stored and not out and available, because I don't feel any pull to work with it on the regular, but I have zero desire to let it go. I think that if I'm ever called to the work that this deck helped me, or this path helped me do, I'm going to want this because it can walk me through that work really beautifully. But I'm not in that place right now, and I'm not called to that work right now. And so I think I want to pack this up, but just put it in my storage area. So I think I'm going to try to find the original box and actually put it like properly away so that it's not just like hanging there being neglected. So this is another storage. So I've got 2 storage, 2 declutter so far. Let's talk about the Tarot of Echoes. This is totally safe. This just got sort of ignored over on that shelf, thus the issue. This just needs to be in my regular rotation, and I need to actually hang it with the Oracle of Echoes, which is right here. So these need to get hung as a set. So here's the Oracle of Echoes. These are actually literally meant to go together. So this is the newest addition to that decks to be worked with rack, but I already know I'm going to work with these. So I need to just hang these together. And maybe what I'll do is I'll repurpose that hanging rack to host decks that are paired up. So deck pairs. And that might be a really good use of that, of one of my wall racks. So I think I'm going to do some reorganizing, but I love the Tarot of Echoes. I'm so excited to have it. It's super, super safe. But yeah, it needs to get partnered up with my Oracle of Echoes. And I think the reason that I didn't initially do this is because I wanted to be able to pair Oracle of Echoes also up with Anna's artwork in the Arthurian Tarot. But the Arthurian Tarot, I think, is going to be paired with, I think it's going to get paired with my Mists of Avalon Oracle instead. So I'm going to put these away, but they're going to get hung as a pair. But they're both very safe. Let's talk about Tarot of the Old Gods. This is a Scylla Conway deck. This deck really excited me when I got it in, and I have not used it since. I reached for it once or twice. I don't think I did any real intense work with it. It's such a well-researched deck, and I'm such a sucker for Scylla's artwork and the way that she conceptualizes decks. Why do I have reversals in here? What is the matter? This shape is really cool. This is very much another deck that I think my fantasy self would just love, but is really not for me. It is absolutely astounding. And like in the guidebook, Scylla actually, like every single one of these items is here with an intention, and it's described and explained in the guidebook. I think it's really, really, really powerful. Anybody who's even a little bit enamored by human civilization, ancient and future, or who is enamored by the idea of just anthropology in general, would probably really enjoy this deck. It is a pip deck, but it's very much pips with a purpose. These are not just mindlessly chosen items on the cards. This is a very, very well thought out deck. This one was sent to me for review, and I was so excited because I just like gobble up everything that Scylla does, it seems like. But this one is probably just a little too something for me, a little too serious might not be right, but it feels a little bit too much like a history book maybe for me and my aesthetic, and I tend to just not reach for things like this, but I'm super impressed by them. So I think, yeah, I've got some reversals in here. I think this is one that I can probably let go. But man, it is an incredible deck. I think that it wouldn't be one that I would have picked out, but man, I feel so lucky to have gotten a chance to work with it and look at it and learn from it. The guidebook, oh my gosh, y'all. The guidebook is incredible. So just to show an example of the pips. So here there's 3 cups. So it talks about the ancient cups here are from the Vandal kingdom, and one might fairly say they've been in the wars. They've been pieced together by conservators with wire running across the top. They originally would have held an integral inner glass, as the metal sides would never be watertight, but even then the tiny base was unlikely to be stable. It goes on from there. There's a whole history lesson in here. It's an incredibly well-researched deck, a very, very intelligent deck. It's just, unfortunately, not for me. I think this one has to go. But, oh my gosh, y'all. This is going to have to find a pretty incredible home. But it's going to go in purgatory for a while. Again, like with anything, this would be very expensive for me to replace, so I don't want to be in a hurry to let it go. But it is just an astounding deck. And, oh man, it's really cool. So that's going to go, though, in the purgatory pile for now. What else we got up in here? Oh, this one I'm excited about. This is the Sylvan Kind. This is going nowhere. This is just going to get hung right now on my Oracle shelf, but actually it might live down for a bit because I'm super excited about this deck. It's absolutely breathtaking. I gushed and gushed. This deck has made me cry. Like the Tarot of Echoes, it's perfectly safe and actually makes a really good pair. Thanks to Krista Chronicles, I know this. I hadn't experimented with it yet, but it actually pairs really well with the Unicorn's Journey Tarot, my own deck. It works look at this. Independence between Strength and the Tower. Yikes, so good. Haven between Ten of Fire and Knight of Air. Responsibility, High Priestess, Ten of Water. It goes so well. Like, it aesthetically looks really good next to it, but also the messages across just feel really, really good. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is keep this out for a pair with Unicorn's Journey for now. I am working on the Unicorn's Journey Oracle, but it's going to be a while before that is available and in my hands. So until then, I think this is going to be my favorite pairing. So that definitely makes it a keeper. All right. So this, though, is going to just hang on my Oracle rack for now. I've got spots there. It doesn't need to hang over there on the deck's not worked with yet because I have worked with this. I don't know why it was over there. There's some other things to look at. This one I have also worked with, so I think it just was like lack of space. This is the, why am I upside down here? Oh, these are my extra cards. This is a prototype copy. The full production copy will be out. Keep an eye on Three Trees Tarot. Like I said, I'll have links down below for everything. I love this deck. It is so cozy. Adore, 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 adore it so much. I adore it so much. Oh, it's so good. So I'm going to hang this actually up on the rack where next to the Oak, Ash, and Thorn, although it might need its own spot. This needs, oh, I don't know. I feel like I need to hang my Three Trees Tarot decks just in one like big deck family. I don't know. I don't know how to do that, but I don't know. I don't know how to organize my stuff, but this is a really, really cool deck. Yeah, I have it like this so I won't forget. Those are my extra cards. And I was thinking of shuffling them all in because this is one Lovers and Devil option, and these are throwbacks to the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. And then there's another Lovers and Devil set that's more like self-reflective. So I may just shuffle them all in, but I haven't decided yet. I don't know. Anyways, this is going to hang up probably just in a different spot. So that just needs to be moved. What do I have in here? I forget. What's in here? Oh, this is my Tarot of She. Is that what this is called? The Tarot of She, I think. This is the latest by Mahadeva Padma. And I'm really curious about this deck. This is not the right bag for this deck. I don't know why it's in. This is probably just what I had handy. You know what this actually looks like it would go beautifully in is this bag. Yep. Which this is going to go back in a box and get stored anyway. So we're going to pull that out. And I think we're going to put it in this bag because that purple bag didn't make any sense. This has got a very... Obviously, it feels very similar to the Osho Zen Tarot in a lot of ways. Yeah. Yeah. The tarot's here, but it's sort of underneath. And I feel like this might be really interesting to... Huh. I definitely want to spend some more time with this deck, but this really hasn't been worked with yet. Still, though, I think I need to think I need a different spot for decks that haven't been worked with yet, is I think the problem, because they're too easy to sort of forget about in that spot. This is so similar to an Osho Zen card. I do wonder how many of these are meant to sort of mimic the vibes of Osho Zen, the stories of Osho Zen. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I had to, because I'm such a fan of Mahadeva Padma's stuff. This is Temperance. No, 14, that's the King of Earth. All right, well, that kind of works. Well, it's not the greatest cardstock. It feels kind of cheapy, but it has a little bit of resistance, so it does shuffle. I do think this is one that's going to get beat up feeling pretty quick, but yeah, that's a much better match. So it's going to hang in this bag, and I'm going to put it with the rest of my decks and just see what happens. Actually, I feel like I need to put it in decks to read with, maybe in member readings. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to revisit that. And then we have this one, which I haven't worked with yet, and it is the Ehrenberg Tarot. I'm really excited about this deck. It isn't my usual aesthetic. Bag match is pretty good though, right? I like the zoomed in vibe. If I'm being honest, this is outside my normal aesthetic. But the zoomed in take is exciting to me. So let's just see. The fact that I hadn't shuffled it though. I need to pull this into member readings too. That's really when I really know typically what is what I'm going to probably enjoy or work with long term. Once I really put it to the test in readings, that's when I know. So let's just do a quick little, oh, we got cards flying out. Let me do a quick little energy obstacle advice. All right. Energy, the Chariot. Obstacle is the World. Advice is the Queen of Wands. I'm curious what the guidebook is like for this. Let's just see. So the Chariot for energy, what does it say? The charioteer boldly sits between two sphinxes, one black, the other white. The sphinxes represent duality, different objectives or opposing forces. The driver is able to rein in and control the two creatures. There's nothing unique about the guidebook messages here. It's not really like feeling like a different take. The World. So pretty basic meanings here. I'm not getting anything like especially profound from the guidebook or anything, which is fine. I feel like this is very much kind of giving me Rider-Waite-Smith clone vibes, but in a more focused way. Yeah, we're going to have to see. We're going to see. I think I need to pull this into member readings and then decide. So this is going to also go down into an area of decks that I need to pull into readings before I decide what I'm going to do with them. So since we're here and we're 45 minutes, oh no, I've got two more. So I'm going to put that over there. We're going to talk about the decks that I have sort of in another spot here in a second too. Let's look at these. These are my Celtic decks. These are here for specifically connecting to Celtic lore or Celtic vibes. Both of these decks are out of print, so I'm holding on to both. These feel like Celtic heritage decks. They feel like they're here for that kind of work. This is what the backings look like, so you can kind of see how I made the bags work. I forget the names of these. I think they're both, this one's called the Celtic Tarot, I believe, and this one is Celtic Wisdom Tarot. Really, really happy to have a copy of this. The book is really incredible. I need to do an actual full study on this deck, but it's really pretty amazing. I love the art style. The readings that I've gotten when I have pulled this out to work with feel really profound. It feels very like keyed into Celtic mythology in a very, very intentional way, in a very thoughtful way. And I like that. So I do want to spend more time with this one. Of the two, this is my favorite, but this one it's just beautiful. It is a pip deck, but it's all Celtic knotwork, and it's just really lovely. It feels like the kind of thing that I could specifically use for, I don't know, like I have some ideas in my mind, but it is very much like a decorative pip deck. It doesn't hit me with anything super profound in the artwork, although I do love the searching vibe of this page. The quartz here are good. That Page of Swords had that kind of inquisitive vibe for sure. I love this Empress. It's pretty. I got this because it's pretty, but it's definitely something that I think I can probably store in its bag because frankly, the box that this came in is not great. But I think I need to store this as opposed to putting it out for regular use because I think this is something I just like having, but not something I plan to use a lot of. So I'm going to store that also. This one though, I'm going to keep hanging, but I'm going to not put it in like a priority spot on the wall. So this is also going to just get moved. So these are decks to get hung, but they're going to get hung differently. Let's take a look at my little basket here. These are decks that I just put 2 in here, but these are decks that I want to pull into readings with members before I sort of decide what's happening with them. Now this one I know is going to be safe. I just got sent this. This is really beautiful and I have the perfect bag for this and it's right here. So I want to kind of pull this out of its tuck box though, so I'm gonna do that because I don't typically, tuck boxes just don't survive in my world just because the way my decks get handled. So I'm gonna put the tuck box away, but I'm going to put this just like that. That's just like the perfect bag match for that. That's gonna get hung with my Oracle decks, and the book is gonna go on my bookshelf, which is exciting. So that's gonna get put away. So this one I don't necessarily need to pull into member readings, but it's there. Here's some decks that I still need to decide. So the Baroque Tarot First Edition, I believe this is currently funding on Kickstarter, or it just was. This was sent to me for review. This is really elegant and beautiful. Let's take a look at it. It's so pretty. It's also really sort of dark and elegant and moody, which is of course the vibe. I'm gonna be real honest, this is freaking gorgeous. Look at this visionary card. Wait, the Maestro, are these bonus cards? They must be. Yeah, these are bonus cards, the Maestro and the Visionary. These are really, really pretty. This is, again, one of those decks where it's beautiful, but when I think of beautiful, elegant decks, I know I'm going to want to reach for my Fyodor Pavlov. So this is gorgeous, but I don't think it's going to be something that I ultimately reach for a ton. Yeah, I love the aesthetic. I love all the black. I love all the dark tones. It's really, really well done. It's got like a painterly kind of vibe to it. It's pretty. It's very, very pretty. I think for this one, I am going to go ahead and set it aside. I mean, I'm going to call it Purgatory, but it's just one that I appreciate aesthetically, but it's probably not going to end up in my actual reading rotation. And that does happen sometimes with decks that I'm sent for review, is that they're beautiful and I appreciate them and I think that they're gorgeous and worth sharing, but aren't necessarily something I'm going to see in my personal practice. Again, that happens sometimes. What else do we have in here? Journey Tarot, I definitely want to use. Oh, I always keep thinking the box opens. I don't know what it is, but I always think the box should open over here. I don't know why. I did a whole deep dive on this deck and I think it's super, super cool. I really want to pull this into member readings also. So we're definitely going to keep this in the basket of things to use in member readings. So we're going to set it aside in the basket of things to read with members. And then another one that I was sent this by my friend Tori. I still want to pull this in for member readings. I just haven't yet. I don't know what my deal is. It's pretty fun. It's like modern, very like sassy woman vibes is what I get from this. It's called the Neoteric Feminine Tarot, and it definitely taps into the feminine, but it also feels kind of modern and sassy and kind of fashiony, actually. I don't know what is going on here. Hold on. Yeah, Devil Tower. I love the Sun card. It's so cute. I love the colors in this. It's very playful. It's very fun. This feels a little like what the Real Talk Tarot kind of feels like, except not so focused on social media. I don't know if that makes any sense out loud. It makes sense in my head though. Let's shuffle this one and let me pull a random card and read what the guidebook has to say. So let's see. Let me just give this a shuffle. I want to see how the guidebook feels. Oh, we got an extra card kicking around in here. Oh, that's just a thank you for your purchase card. We don't care about that. Actually, for that, I can take that out and put that in a download your gift. Okay, maybe I'll keep that in there in case I rehome that. That way it's there for somebody else. Let me shuffle. It's gilded. Yeah, this needs to get pulled into member readings before I'm going to know, I think. But let me just pull a card for myself. All right. Let's pull a card. What do we have? Page of Swords. She's badass. And let's see what it says about the Page of Swords in here. Ooh. These entries look, you get a full page plus a page for reverse. So the Page of Swords represents communication, innovation, and moving forward with projects. The asker may be brimming with new ideas or enthusiasm and exploring ways to publicly share them. So upright love meaning, intellectual relationship, lack of emotional intimacy, upright career reading, ambitious, intelligent person, new career, education, upright finances meaning financial curiosity and ideas for making money. You may need to contact a professional consultant for help in order to make a decision. Carefully weigh the pros and cons before signing a contract. So that's some really like tangible advice. And then we have a bunch in reversed. Let me see one more here. Three of Swords. This is often a really telling one, depending on how they interpret this. Heartbreak, separation, sadness, grief, sorrow, upset, loss, trauma, tears. Tension and heartbreak, perhaps as a result of a relationship ending, a communication failure, a bitter argument, or a betrayal. The asker may be carrying grief, emotional pain, or feelings of rejection. The asker is reminded that no matter how much pain we may be feeling, we have control over the meaning we give to an experience. Be careful not to push your loved one away from you just because you feel tense and irritable. That's fair. Yeah, so remains to be seen. I think this is going to be one I'm probably going to just read at face value, like just to read based on the artwork. I don't think I'm going to be leaning into the guidebook too terribly much. But it seems like it'd be a good reader straight out the box. It's very easy to look at artwork. Very clear. Yeah, I need to pull this into member readings for sure. So that one is out for that. So these two, I can't wait to pull into member readings. So they're in this little basket. And the last thing in this basket is the Sweet Ass Affirmations. 3. Let's take another look at this. So this was another one that was, sent to me. There's some cool stuff in here. I showed this in a recent deck roundup. I love that. Go the fuck outside. It's amazing. These cards have a similar format, like physical format, to my Buddha Doodles cards. Oh, I know what I want to do with this. Oh, this is so, we just had the Aurora Borealis. I totally missed it. I am an omnipresent treasure. My kick-ass magic is beyond measure. Oh, I like that. I love this. This is so fun. This is the kind of thing that makes a really great, when you're sending mail, to just chuck a card in or something. But the type of affirmations that this isn't something that I tend to reach for from a divination perspective, but it's so fun and playful. This Rage Create company, they do a really good job of this kind of deck. Now this is number 3. There's also obviously 1 and 2. I feel like of all of them, 1 was maybe my favorite. I'm trying to remember now because I've seen them before. But you get this like punchy message on the front and then a more lengthy message on the back. Kind of like the postcards from the universe cards. Yeah, this is pretty great. Let me just imagine if I was doing member readings and pulling these in, how that would feel. Let me just think about it for a second. I'm envisioning. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence because I'm trying to think, is this something I should gift or is this something I should keep? And I'm also trying to decide, is it something that I should like set aside to like tuck a card into people's packages whenever I send things out personally. I don't do that very often, but I'm also really bad at remembering to do that. And I'm still working through my postcards from the universe for that. And I think this would just make a really lovely gift. So part of me is like, I just need to find someone cool to gift this to. So I'm going to set it aside actually into a different pile of things that just would be great to pass along to somebody kind of randomly. I also feel like this would be a really cool thing to like put a little note on, like if you found this, it's for you. And like literally leave it somewhere in a public place. That seems like such a cool, like guerrilla, joyful thing to do. I don't know. Am I a nerd? Probably. For now, I'm going to put it in the storage pile because I'm not going to rehome it. I think I'm going to find a creative way to pass it along. So anyways, that brings us back to these 4, which are just in my pull into member readings. So I have my Neoteric Feminine, my Journey, my Tarot of Her, or Tarot of She, I forget what that's called, and then my Ehrenberg. These are definitely set aside to specifically, intentionally pull into member readings and then decide how I feel. So let's do a quick kind of recap of what I did here. So my Seasons of the Witch decks are all going to just get put away and stored. They're all safe. So there was 5 of them. 1 is over in a different spot because I'm working with it right now. So those are keeps. All my Halloween decks stayed. So my Boo Tarot Vampires, my Bohemian Gothic Zombies, and Trick or Treat are all staying. My one Christmas deck, the Santa's Helper edition, is staying. So those are my actual seasonal decks that are staying. They're going to go back on that upper rack. And I think going up with them is going to be this Celtic. Oh, I was reorganizing my racks. These are the hooks that I use to hang my decks on. This is going to go up with the seasonal stuff because I'm not going to be using that very often. And then also staying, of course, is my Tarot of Echoes, which is going to be hung with my Oracle of Echoes and my Heartwood Tarot. So actually, I think I've got more going this time. Well, visually it looks like that, but not really. So going is going to be the Baroque Tarot, Tarot of the Old Gods. These are going into purgatory. So as a reminder, if you're watching this, I'm not rehoming right now. It'll probably be months. So just keep that in mind because I'm not going to probably be responding to any messages about wanting stuff because I don't have the bandwidth right now to rehome things. But so Baroque, Tarot of the Old Gods, Spirit Within, and Herb Crafters. That's what this one's called, the herby one. So these ones are going to go into purgatory to be decided upon later. If I don't miss them, they will eventually get rehomed. And then I'm going to move my candle. Creative use, this one's kind of in a pile all its own. And then storage, I have my Celtic Tarot, the Pip one, my Sisterhood of Avalon, I think it's called the Avalonian Oracle, and the Ego Observer, because I'm not in the space for it right now. So yeah, and this one was the Goddess one. That's just going to get hung up on the Goddess Oracle. That's the result of today's declutter collection and declutter video. Thank you so much for hanging out. As always, an extra big thank you goes out to my Unicorn Fam channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really, really means a lot, and it makes a huge difference. To everybody watching, commenting, subscribing, all of that also is a huge help for the channel. So thank you so much for that. And until next time, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.